Here is the exact script you provided, merged into one single paragraph with zero changes to wording. If you want to destroy a tree, you don't snip the leaves. You dig until your hands bleed, and you pull out the roots. The same goes for your mind. Most people deal with anxiety, self-doubt, or fear by trying to silence the symptoms. They distract themselves. They numb themselves. They scroll until their thoughts turn blurry. They binge dopamine to escape discomfort. They say, "I just need motivation," when motivation was never the problem. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." But what he meant was more brutal than it sounds. He was saying, your imagination has become your jailer. Your mind has become your torturer. Your thoughts have become your executioner. The Stoics believe that recurring emotional pain is not random, it's patterned. If you feel the same anxieties repeatedly, it's not because the world keeps attacking you. It's because you keep believing the same root thought, a belief you never confronted, a wound you never treated, a moment you never healed from. Every fear is a root. Every insecurity is a root. Every compulsive habit is a root. But you keep cutting the leaves, so the tree grows back stronger. Let's expose the roots. Root 1. Attachment to external validation. Let's be honest. Somewhere in life you learned that your worth depends on how others respond to you. A compliment builds you. A criticism destroys you. Someone's attention makes you feel alive. Their silence makes you feel invisible. So your mind anxiously tries to manage every possible perception. This is why you fear failing. Not because the failure hurts, but because of what you believe it means about you. This is why you compare yourself to others even when you know it poisons you. This is why you sabotage opportunities because you fear being seen trying and still failing. This is why you struggle with discipline because your mind was trained to chase approval, not mastery. Stoicism says, investigate the belief before the emotion. When you feel insecure, ask, what am I afraid losing? When did I decide my worth came from outside myself? Who taught me this? And why did I believe them? The moment you trace a feeling to its source, the entire illusion collapses. Root 2. False narratives about identity. I always mess things up. I can't do this. I'm not the kind of person who succeeds. No one takes me seriously. People like me don't win. You don't fight these thoughts because you think they are you, but they're not. These are memories wearing the costume of identity. These are fears wearing the mask of logic. These are old wounds wearing the uniform of fate. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Stoicism agrees. Your mind isn't broken. Your identity is just outdated. You're living under a story someone else wrote for you, long ago, and you've never edited the script. Root 3. Emotional avoidance. When you avoid painful emotions, they grow sharper. When you suppress discomfort, it mutates into anxiety. When you refuse to confront your past controls you. Ignoring wounds does not heal them. It infects them. Stoic law teaches that courage is not dramatic. Courage is quiet. Courage is sitting alone with your thoughts without numbing them. Courage is telling yourself the truth even when it hurts your ego. Courage is looking directly at the emotion instead of running from it. Because what you avoid today becomes your master tomorrow. The Stoic method of root investigation. There are 3 steps. 1. Identify the trigger. Ask, what exactly caused this emotional spike? Not in vague terms. Be precise. Name it clearly. 2. Identify the belief behind the emotion. Ask, what must I believe for this feeling to exist? This exposes the subconscious script. 3. Challenge the belief with truth. Ask, who told me this? Is this belief universally true? Does holding this belief help me or destroy me? The moment you trace a feeling to its source, the entire illusion collapses. Law 2. Control the frame or be controlled by it. Imagine 2 people lose their jobs on the same day. The first person says, my life is over. I'm worthless. I'll never recover. The second person says, this is painful, but it forces me to grow. I'll rebuild from here. Same event, different frame, different life outcomes. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Modern psychology calls this cognitive framing. Stoicism called it self-command. Most people don't frame their experiences frame them. When the world presents a situation, the mind automatically generates meaning, and that meaning becomes your reality. This is the greatest mental prison of all time. Thinking your first interpretation is the truth. But what if your first interpretation is just trauma speaking, just fear speaking, just insecurity speaking, just ego speaking? Stoicism gives you a breathtaking superpower, the ability to choose the meaning. Let's break down how framing shapes everything. Framing effect number 1. Emotion follows interpretation. People think events cause emotions. Wrong. Your interpretation of events causes emotions. Insult equals, they don't respect me, equals anger. Failure equals, I am not good enough, equals shame. Rejection equals, I am unworthy, equals despair. Obstacles equals, life hates me, equals hopelessness. Now look at how a Stoic reframes the same events. Insult equals, they're revealing their character, not mine, equals calm. Failure equals feedback, not identity, equals determination. Rejection equals not alignment, not destiny, equals clarity. Obstacles equals training for strength, equals resilience. Your feelings are not reactions, they are consequences of framing. Framing effect number 2. The world becomes what you call it. Life is neutral, events are neutral, reality is neutral, but your labels give everything its emotional weight. I'm ruined. This is embarrassing. This is the worst day of my life. This will haunt me forever. You don't describe life. You create it with the words you choose. Your language shapes your pain. Your interpretations shape your destiny. Stoics understood that mental suffering begins when you label events with meaning instead of observing them with clarity. In fact, Marcus Aurelius wrote, choose not to be harmed and you won't be. He didn't mean ignore unfairness. He meant stop adding meaning that destroys you. Framing effect number 3. Control begins where meaning begins. You cannot control the world. You cannot control other people. You cannot control outcomes, timing, destiny, luck, or chaos. But you can control your meaning, your narrative, your internal dialogue, your interpretation, your response. And the moment you control meaning, you control yourself. And the moment you control yourself, nothing external has the power to control you. This is the foundation of emotional mastery. How to control your frame. Here is the Stoic technique. 1. Pause before interpreting. The first thought is usually survival-based. The second thought is fear-based. The third thought is ego-based. Pause long enough for the truth to appear. 2. Ask, what else could this mean? There are always other explanations. You just never look for them because pain is loud. 3. Ask, is this interpretation helping me or hurting me? Your frame should strengthen you, not weaken you. 4. Choose the frame that aligns with your highest character, not your lowest fear. This is the Stoic way. Closing part 1. You've now learned why your inner voice is your true enemy. The danger of treating symptoms instead of roots. How unconscious beliefs shape recurring emotional pain. Why your interpretations, not events, determine your suffering. The Stoic process of reframing reality. How to reclaim meaning and take control of your inner world. Part 2 will take you deeper into building the fortress mind, detaching from uncontrollable outcomes, and mastering emotional resilience.
There's a quiet tragedy that most people never see happening inside themselves. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive with chaos or drama. It happens silently when the mind forgets to guard its gates. You felt this before. The subtle erosion of confidence after a single careless comment. the way a stranger's opinion burrows into your chest, the way one negative thought becomes a swarm of doubts, and the way your entire emotional state can collapse from something as small as a message, a tone, a look, a mistake. This is not weakness. This is architecture. Your mind is built like a structure. Either you build it like a fortress, or you leave it as a doorway. Doorways let anything in: criticism, fear, judgment, comparison, noise, insecurity. But a fortress has gates, guards, walls, and internal order. A fortress decides what enters and what stays out. A doorway has no power of selection. A fortress is conscious. A doorway is passive. And right now, most people, without even knowing it, are living like doorways. They let every opinion in, every fear in, every narrative in, every projection in, every insult in, every insecurity in. A mind without boundaries becomes a mind without sovereignty, and a mind without sovereignty becomes a mind easily conquered. This is why Stoicism built one of its most powerful laws. Guard your mind like a fortress, because everything else in your life, your discipline, your peace, your clarity, your resilience, depends on the strength of that inner architecture. Let's begin. Imagine a fortress standing in the middle of a vast landscape. Its walls are tall, the gate heavy, the inside quiet. Now imagine an open doorway in a field. Wind passes through it. Dust passes through it. Animals pass through it. Anything can enter because there's nothing there to stop it. Most people assume their emotional suffering comes from what happens around them, but the Stoics saw something deeper. You suffer not because the world attacks you, but because you leave the door wide open. Every insult becomes a wound. Every opinion becomes a truth. Every failure becomes an identity. Every setback becomes a prophecy. Every judgment becomes a mirror. You're letting the world write on the walls of your mind. Seneca said, "We must be our own gatekeepers." He didn't mean isolation. He meant responsibility. The world will always knock. The question is, do you let everything in? Because if you let every thought and every voice walk into your mind without question, you are not living. You are being lived by everything around you. A fortress doesn't let every traveler in. A fortress filters. It evaluates. It decides. This is how the mind must operate. Every thought that enters your mind should face interrogation. Ask it, who sent you? Are you true? Are you helpful? Are you mine? Do you strengthen me or weaken me? In modern life, people assume every thought is automatically legitimate, but Stoicism teaches the opposite. Thoughts are visitors. You choose who stays. If a thought enters saying you're not enough, do you let it walk in and sit down? If a thought enters saying they must be judging you, do you let it speak without questioning its identity? If a thought enters saying you're going to fail, do you give it a bed inside your mind? Ask this question honestly. How many of your thoughts are actually yours, and how many were planted by criticism, by comparison, by fear, by trauma, by society? Most people are living with beliefs they never chose, beliefs they inherited from others. A fortress mind chooses its beliefs deliberately. A doorway mind inherits beliefs accidentally. This is why Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought. If you entertain fear, you become fear. If you entertain doubt, you become doubt. If you entertain negativity, you become negativity. Whatever enters often enough becomes resident. Your job is not to stop negative thoughts from arriving. Your job is to stop giving them permanent residence. A fortress is not only defined by what it keeps out, but also by what it removes from within. Inside your mind, there are voices that don't belong to you. The voice that says you'll always be like this. The voice that says they're better than you. The voice that says you can't change. The voice that says you're not capable. The voice that says, why even try? The voice that says, stay small, stay silent, stay safe. These voices are not truth. They are echoes. Echoes of comparisons you absorbed years ago. Echoes of past failures you never healed from. Echoes of people who projected their insecurity on you. Echoes of wounds you never confronted. Echoes of expectations you never wanted. Echoes of standards you never chose. The fortress law says, if the inner voices are not yours, you must evict them, because the mind becomes a battlefield when foreign beliefs live inside it. Ask yourself, when did I first start believing this? Who gave me this idea? What evidence supports this? What evidence contradicts this? Does this belief make me stronger or weaker? A belief that weakens you is a poor tenant. It must be removed. Every day you are bombarded with noise. The noise of people who criticize without understanding. The noise of comparison on social media. The noise of people who project their insecurities on you. The noise of opinions disguised as truth. The noise of the world's chaos and fear. The noise of expectations. The noise of pressure. The noise of unfamiliar voices telling you who to be. This noise is constant, and if you don't guard your mind, the world will fill it with whatever is loudest. Think about it. How much of your stress comes from direct reality, and how much has come from what you've absorbed without filtering? How many of your worries are not even yours? How many insecurities were adopted from strangers? How many fears are leftovers from childhood? How many doubts were implanted by people who were doubting themselves? Stoicism teaches, if you do not filter what enters your mind, you will drown in the world's noise. Silence is the absence of noise. Silence is the act of closing the gates. This is why Stoics practiced journaling, daily reflection, solitude, internal dialogue, mindful observation, limited speech, selective attention. These practices are not spiritual ornaments. They are mental defense systems. A fortress must have routine maintenance. Your mind is no different. Modern people misunderstand boundaries. They assume that having a guarded mind means becoming rigid, cold, distant, or emotional. The Stoics weren't like that at all. They felt deeply. They loved deeply. They connected deeply. But their minds weren't open hallways. Their emotions didn't run unchecked. Their identity wasn't shaped by external feedback. Their sense of self wasn't dependent on approval. Stoic walls don't keep people out. They keep chaos out. They keep untruth out. They keep manipulation out. They keep fear-based narratives out. A fortress doesn't reject love, connection, or honesty. A fortress rejects toxicity, noise, and illusion. Because if you don't protect your inner world, you have nothing authentic to offer the outer world. Here are the daily practices used by ancient Stoics, translated for the modern mind. 1. Thought inspection. Every time a thought enters your mind, pause. Ask, did I choose this thought, or did it choose me? What is the origin? Does it align with my highest self? If not, let it pass. 2. Emotional filtering. Before reacting emotionally, ask, is this emotion based on truth or fear? Most emotions are fear in disguise. A fortress mind doesn't eliminate emotion. It interprets it correctly. 3. Selective input. Your mind becomes what you consume. Be ruthless about what you allow in. Limit exposure to negativity. Limit people who drain you. Limit environments that unsettle you. Limit content that corrupts your focus. This is not avoidance. This is architecture. 4. Guarded speech. Marcus Aurelius said, the more you say, the less you control. Speech is a gate. Oversharing weakens your walls. Venting strengthens your problems. Explaining yourself gives others power over your self-definition. Speak less. Think more. Act intentionally. 5. Solitude and silence. A fortress needs quiet to maintain strength. In silence, you repair the inner walls. In silence, you reclaim your identity. In silence, you return to yourself.